Hello, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it because the information here is possibly some of the most important information that I'm going to be handing out. I want to talk first of all about our spines and our spinal health. So when we look at how we deal with health, if we look back 80 years ago, the way in which we looked after our teeth, our dental health, was that we did nothing, absolutely nothing, and then if a tooth began to hurt, we would possibly self-medicate, and if the tooth continued being a problem, we would have it pulled out. So that's how dental care was 80 years ago. And here we are, 2020, with all this technology, thinking that we're so advanced, and yet our spinal health and our spinal care is absolutely at the same level as our dental care was 80 years ago, and that is insane. And I'm going to take a moment right now to explain why. So in this diagram, what you can see is we have the brain, and the brain absolutely controls everything you do, everything you think, your locomotion, your thoughts, your perception. It also controls everything going on inside your body. So you have a brain inside the skull, and then you have the spinal cord coming down the center, and it is protected by the spine and the skull. So your spine is the conduit for some amazing magic. So if you imagine each level of the vertebra, out come two big nerve roots, and from the nerve roots, all the nerve supply spreads out to absolutely every cell in your body. So your brain is controlling your heart, your lungs, your kidney, your liver, your digestive tract, your sexual organs. Everything is getting its information and help and coordination through this communication, and the only way this communication can happen is via this spinal cord within the spine. So if we look at how that happens, everything is an electrical impulse. So you could measure the heart with electrodes, you could measure the brain with electrodes, but literally we are life force energy, and we need absolutely to have full connection with our life force energy and to feel it in every single cell of our body. We are not our organs, we are the energy that animates them. And to give an example, if we took a piece of chicken or ham, a piece of meat, it's not going to heal. But if you cut your hand, it's going to heal. And it heals because it's an inside job. Your innate intelligence does an incredible job. Your immune system, everything. Your system has the ability to create the best pharmacy in the world, exactly what you require. But we need that life force energy to be flowing beautifully so that all of that magic can just happen naturally and just right for you. So when we look at these nerve roots coming out and the mass of things that they do, we've also got to consider that only 9% of all of this, nervous system is for pain. So all of the rest of the nervous system has another job. So when we use pain as an indicator of whether we're healthy or not, we are only listening at best to part of 9% of your body's communication. So what I want to just put out there is, what is the point of pain? Why do we have pain? The reason we have pain is because we need information as to whether we're going in the right direction. We need information to tell us whether we need to stop or start. If you went to put your hand on something hot, you know to take the hand away if it's too much. And pain is just there. It's an indicator. It's telling you something's too much. It's telling you maybe you need to change something. So my question is, if we use pain as an indicator of health, are we getting a true understanding of what's going on inside the body? And if we are trying to get rid of pain when it's the communication from the body, is that the correct way to treat somebody? Or should we be looking at what the pain is trying to indicate to us? Also, I want to look at health. We often describe our health as good or bad, depending on whether or not we have symptoms. But when you look at the world right now, the number one cause of death is a heart attack. And 51% of those people, their first symptom will be the pain from the heart attack that kills them. So if somebody did die in such a situation, we have to ask, if they had no symptoms before that day, were they healthy the week before? Were they healthy the month before? Were they healthy the year before? So symptoms aren't actually going to give a true indication of where we are. Also, when we look at symptoms, we're often taught to shy away from having a symptom and to eradicate it as soon as possible. Eradicate pain and eradicate symptoms. We often take medications to get rid of it. And my question is, if you have eaten something bad and your body wants you to throw up, so you're vomiting, is that symptom good or bad? If you have a germ in your body and your body needs to eradicate that bacteria, a bacteria can be killed at around 39 degrees centigrade. So if we allow the body to heat up and get a temperature, is your body well and doing a good job, or is it sick? So now we're in the realm to what is sickness and what is wellness. Wellness is when we have the ability to move through life, whether it be a pain or a symptom that's physical, or whether it be something going on in our lives. These things are going to come. And the important thing is, are we able to deal with them? Can we move with them? Are we connected to ourselves? Do we have our life force energy? Do we have all of this beautiful, beautiful, magical mechanism to back us and to get us through what life is bringing to us? So those are the questions that I would like to leave you with. So, one of the most important things to consider with your spine, with your body, is your posture. So your posture is the shape and tone and tension that your body holds on a normal day, on a normal week. So for many of us, we find that through different things that go on in our bodies, we start to notice we have changes in our posture. Up to this moment, posture is a history of who you are. So it's everything you've dealt with, everything you've pushed against, everything you've had to get through will be there in your posture. So it's a very important thing to be looked at. When the posture starts to change, we often then get stuck in these patterns. So it's very hard for us to change back, because that pattern actually worked. It got us through the day, it got us through some bad moments, and it becomes harder and harder to come out of those patterns. When postural changes occur, the head is forward, the shoulders are down, then you're going to find that the information between the brain and the body can't get through as well. So now our ability to be loving starts to decrease, our ability to be creative starts to decrease, and our ability to make the right choice starts to decrease. And it's worth remembering that disease or disease is just a culmination of choices over time. So it's really important that we can feel open and available to do these things here. Stress physiology in particular plays a massive role in our posture. So that could be anger, it could be depression, but you will often notice people walking around and their posture just really is turned over. Maybe the back is pulling out like this and the head is forward. When we use stress physiology, it's not actually a bad thing. In small doses, when we need to get something done, it's a magical implement. We move into stress physiology, and suddenly we've got a lot more ability. We're really awake and we can get a lot done. The challenge comes is that we get stuck using this energy, and some of it's even quite like using that energy. But the challenge is that stress physiology is exhausting. So if we keep using it, we're getting more and more depleted. I meet many people who tell me they're feeling old, they've noticed they can do less things, and just generally feel much lower in mood and in ideas and in just feeling connected to themselves and to the world. And this is generally because postural changes and the stress physiology is just that means that they're just starting to shut down. What's also wonderful is very often after a few sessions they start to feel lighter, brighter, often saying they feel much younger. In fact, what is age? So it's really important that we look after our posture and make sure it stays in the right positions and not shutting down. Another thing that's important to look at is something known as a subluxation. It's a word used a lot, and in general terms for me, a subluxation is an interference between your brain and your body. So those interferences can come along for a lot of reasons. There could be chemical interference. So for example, floor cleaners, household cleaners, or air fresheners, or just pollution. So all the time we're having to deal with all these extra things. There's also physical things that can go on for us. So trips and slips, being born could be quite tough. Kids on phones for months and months, if not years. There's just lots of times where we're not allowing the body to be in the right position, or we do damage it. But probably the most important thing is stress physiology. So whether it's your posture or whether it's actually the communication going on between your brain and your body that's now getting interfered with, it's very much more likely to be something to do with stress. So for many of us, we've been through traumatic events and never had a chance to deal with them. For some of us, we're so busy, we don't have time to deal with this, and often we are neglecting ourselves. But what's more important is that it's not just, it's the daily things that start to stack up for us. Little problems at work, but then there's too many. Family stress and little arguments, rubbish email coming through, money worries, too many places to be in one day. We just have very busy lifestyles, and we're being bombarded with more and more information. Things are allegedly getting easier, but actually we're getting to a point where we're just being overwhelmed with the amount of things we're meant to be and do. We kind of get it in our heads that we're getting healthier with more advanced technology and so many things we can do and be and go. But actually, as it goes, the world is getting iller, it's getting sicker. We're moving further and further away from nature, and more importantly, further and further away from our true nature. We need to know ourselves, and right now, more than ever before, we need to know ourselves, and that's why it's so important to make sure that you are connected, truly connected to who you are. In this moment, we are being bombarded with more information and more ideas with technology, but we do not need more intervention, we need less interference, and then the power goes to you. I just want to make it very clear, it's not my job to treat pain, and it's not my job to treat symptoms. My job is to help you clear stress patterns and interference from your nervous system, from what's going on between that communication in your brain and your body. and it's my job to help you clear distortions in your nervous system that are showing up in your posture. Because if everything is running beautifully, if everything is running clearly, if there is no interference along your spine, if everything can work clearly and freely, then yeah, the power goes to you. You have the ability to create your own wellness, and you have the ability to create the life that you want.